What's going on, guys? Justin with 1791. Thanks for watching. Today we're offering another installment on our educational series, and today specifically we're talking about how to properly draw a pistol from the holster. So let's get into it. All right, so before we get in the meat and potatoes of the topic today, I want to give a quick caveat, quick preface on why we're talking about this and the importance of learning how to draw a firearm from a holster properly so that it is consistent. So over the years, I've trained many people on how to properly draw a firearm from the holster, specifically different concealed carry classes, different fighting pistol classes, things like that. And I've seen a lot of people, they just really don't know how to do this properly. Even people that I would consider to be gun people enough to come to a training class and learn how to use a firearm, people that would take a concealed carry permit class. There's a lot of people in a lot of states nowadays that don't even have to take a concealed carry permit class because something that is very awesome, in my opinion, something called a constitutional carry state. The advent of a constitutional carry state is such a blessing to the Second Amendment and the people that appreciate the Second Amendment and exercise the Second Amendment. My fear, though, is that that has put a lot of people in a position where they just don't take training at all. Now, learning how to draw a firearm from a holster, that is probably one of the most important skills that you're ever going to learn when it comes to concealed carry, because that needs to be like muscle memory, all right? Because in a gunfight, there is going to be a myriad of things going on around you that you need to devote conscious thought to, all right? Is this person exhibiting means, opportunity, and jeopardy? Essentially, do they have something that they can use to inflict serious bodily harm or death? Are they close enough to use it? Are they within reasonable range? What would a jury of 12 other people think as far as, like, was that person actually in range and had the ability to use that implement? And what was the immediacy of the situation? Were they drawing the pistol? Were they aiming the pistol at me? Were they pulling the knife out and walking towards me? These are some examples of jeopardy. Now, I'm not an attorney. This is not legal advice. I'm just telling you the kind of things that I used to train people on that articulate the situation that gave them the legal grounds to draw their pistol and use it. These are things that you really need to think about. You need to observe. You need to use your senses. You need to see. You need to hear. You need to feel the situation out. Yeah, you need to devote serious, conscious thought to this. And this part, that needs to be automatic. You know what I mean? Drawing the pistol from the holster, that needs to be automatic. My fear, though, is because people don't have to necessarily take a concealed carry permit class to be able to carry concealed, they're just exercising their rights. And that's awesome. Yay for that. But just because you don't have to doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. You know what I mean? And it's one thing to watch a YouTube video and like learn how to do it on YouTube and then go out to the range and practice it a few times. That is a thing. I will say, though, is that some people are better at that than others. People that are visual learners, people that are tactile learners. These are the types of people that can really like just watch a YouTube channel or YouTube video on something and then just go out and kind of replicate that. Not everyone learns that way, though. So it's very important, regardless of the type of learner that you are. I don't know if you even know what type of learner you are. If you don't know, I would highly encourage you try and figure that out. But regardless of what type of learner you are, it's very, very clutch to just go to a professional firearms training school and under the watchful eye of a competent instructor, be instructed these things in a proper manner so that you can learn what to practice, right? All right, preface out of the way. The things that you need to do when it comes to drawing a pistol from the holster. Step one, you need to clear the garment, all right? Step one, clear the garment. So I'm just going to stand static right now for a moment so I'm in frame. I normally move, but what I like to do is I like to take both hands, not just one. I like to take both hands down and I place them in front of the holster and behind the holster, and I grab some garment, right? So then I'm going to clear that garment up very high. It doesn't have to be all the way up to your armpit, but you're going to clear that garment very high. The reason behind this is what I used to do personally is I used to just clear the garment with one hand. That is fairly consistent. However, especially where I live in South Dakota, The environment around me changes very greatly between t-shirt weather and all of a sudden it's like parka weather. You know what I mean? There's a lot of variability to the climate, right? So that one-handed garment clearing technique is just not going to work if you're wearing a heavy coat, right? So that's why I like to use that two-handed garment clearing method no matter what I'm wearing, because it is consistent, right? So step 1 is clear the garment. Step 2 is establish a fighting grip on the weapon from the holster while simultaneously leaving your other hand where it is so that it is clearing that drawing area. So I'm going to establish a fighting grip on the weapon from the holster. Some people like to do thumb over. This is the grip that I like to use on the weapon from the holster, is thumb over. Some people like to have the thumb on the back of the slide. I will tell you what my preference is, but I'm going to tell you that both of those are acceptable so long as you can properly and consistently get it out of the holster. I prefer a proper fighting grip on the weapon from the holster. That would be the thumb through method that I was talking about before, just because there's nothing saying that I'm not going to be in a predicament where I don't have to shoot close. You know what I mean? And I don't want to have to draw and then redirect my thumb to be able to shoot. I want to be able to draw and shoot immediately should the need arise. Because statistically speaking, most gunfights in the United States happen inside of 7 yards. And inside of that 7 yards, the greatest percentage of that is actually inside of 3 yards. So statistically, the biggest net is inside of 7, but inside of that 7, it's even a greater statistical likelihood that it's going to be inside of 3. So what we're talking about is bad breath distance. You can smell what they had for breakfast, right? So that's why I really prefer that thumb through grip, because it is going to render me the greatest amount of consistency and the greatest, it's going to offer the greatest response time as well, or the best response time. Because I don't have to like kind of reorient anything. I can just draw and I can shoot. All right. So the next thing that we're going to need to do is clear the weapon. All right. So first we've cleared the garment. I've left my non-firing hand where it is. Hopefully the audio is okay with my hand touching the mic. But I've cleared that garment. I'm going to come down and I'm going to establish that fighting grip. And then I'm going to clear the weapon from the holster. That means straight up. All right. Straight up. From here, I can drive my elbow down. You notice how my shoulder comes down too. I'm going to drive my elbow down. I'm going to orient the weapon in the direction of the bad guy. So if I absolutely need to, I can shoot like this, right? You guys have seen me do it before. If you're a returning viewer, I can shoot like this if I need to. So the next thing that I'm going to do is the weapon leads the show, all right? The weapon leads the show. I'm going to drive that weapon straight out as long as time and space permits. I'm going to drive that weapon straight out, and I'm going to simultaneously be snaking my non-firing hand in behind and establishing my extended fighting grip, just like that. Right? As you're doing this, you can be prepping the trigger if you know that you're going to have to shoot. But even though you're prepping the trigger, if that situation changes, let's say the bad guy drops the knife and runs away, I can just take my finger off the trigger and I can just watch him until I make sure he's out of range, right? So the next thing that we're going to do, as this is coming up, we're going to be acquiring our sights, right? Right when the weapon kind of comes right about here, I see that sight, it's in my periph, right? And then when I come to full extension, that sight picture is placed directly on the target, just like that. Something else that I like to do when I'm holstering, I do like to put my thumb on the back of the slide, just because when you insert a pistol into a holster, it is not uncommon for that to slightly come out of battery, and it stays out of battery. And there's no guarantees that when you draw it, it's going to come back into battery. You see this Glock pistol I've released my grip on the slide and it is stuck out of battery right now. Now it's in battery. So if it's out of battery, it ain't doing any shooty pew pew things, right? So I'm going to bring this all together real quick and kind of show you a combination of the draw and movement, because movement is also critical. So if I have made the decision that my pistol needs to come out And for me, I've made that decision once means, opportunity, and jeopardy are all there, right? So I've made that decision. I'm going to step off the line, draw, and shoot, just like that. I will simultaneously be screaming, stop. So let's go ahead and mix that into it. Now, why would I scream stop? There are a few reasons why. First reason, number one, it is a verbal command that lets them know that you are serious, right? It's not some faint warning, some like limp-wristed warning. It is a verbal, loud, authoritative command, and it's just stop. Not like drop the gun or like stop or I'll shoot, whatever. They know what you mean, right? When you scream stop, they know what you mean. You don't need to provide any other context. They know what you're talking about, dude, all right? So it's like this. Stop! Right there. Just like that. Loud and authoritative. So what does that verbal command do? So thing one, that is their last chance to stop what they're doing. That is their last chance. All right? So it's a warning to them. The other thing that it does, it gets eyeballs, right? If this is an environment where there are other people, we want other people to look at what is going on. And they see you scream stop, they hear you scream stop, that gets their attention. And what that does is you're basically recruiting witnesses at that point. They see you scream stop, that means like, oh, that person must be like the innocent party. If they're telling this other person to stop what they're doing, that person must be like the good guy in the situation. It sounds kind of cliche, but this is real, all right? This is the real deal. This has been a thing in case law before, all right? What that does, again, is it gives the bad guy a last opportunity to stop what they're doing. It also recruits witnesses. You get eyeballs if you scream stop, and then all of a sudden, people want to like look at what's going on. And the third thing that it does is it just looks good in court, right? You tried to give that person every opportunity to stop doing what they're doing, meaning like you have no malice. And this isn't gaming the system. This is literally just communicating what's in your heart, because most people, 99.9% of people, don't want to hurt people. You know what I mean? I don't carry a gun because I want to hurt people. I carry a gun because I love my family and I want to protect them. I carry a gun because I value my own life and I value my place in our family. And if I were to get shot by some schmuck because I wasn't ready for it, then that takes me out of the equation for my family forever. And they're going to be forever without me. So that's why I carry a gun. And I want that person to stop what they're doing. I want witnesses to look at the situation, because if I have to use my firearm, witnesses are going to come into play, right? And when I go to court, I want the jury and the judge to know it's in my heart. I don't want to shoot anybody. I screamed stop because I didn't want to have to shoot him. And that screaming stop, that was me communicating to them, like, this is going to end badly for you if you don't stop what you're doing, all right? And I want that to be on the official record in the court documents, all right? Again, this is not legal advice. I'm not an attorney. This is just best practices that are widely known in the industry, all right? So I'm going to bring it all together again. You don't always have to move right. You can move left. In fact, mixing up your movement is good. For instance, you could go the opposite direction. Stop! And just like that, like changing directions and moving off the line of attack is very, very important. I've talked about it before, but I'll talk about it again. Colonel John Boyd's OODA loop, right? Observe, orient, decide, act. So Colonel John Boyd was a pilot. He developed observe, orient, decide, act for training pilots. But all it is human reaction time, all right? And understanding human reaction time. Essentially, the bad guy has observed you. They've oriented themselves into a position, whether it be physically, mentally, and or both, so that they can take advantage of you. And then they're making a decision on what they're going to do. And oftentimes, somewhere between decision and act, you have an opportunity to really reset that. So by you getting off the line of attack and screaming stop, that then it psychologically makes them have to restart back and observe, because now they're collecting new data, all right? They've observed that you are no longer a soft target, that you very forcefully and sharply scream the word stop while you were simultaneously drawing your pistol, and all of a sudden you moved too, right? So then they're going to have to reassess their place in this this ecosystem, and that puts you at a greater advantage, all right? So that is why incorporating movement into your draw is very important. So here's your big takeaway, quick summary. What I would do is this. Unload your firearm and practice this clearing method again, or practice this drawing method. Both hands come down, grab garment in front of the pistol and behind it. Then you're going to pull your garment straight up, come down and establish that proper fighting grip. Bring the pistol straight up, elbow down, start punching the pistol out while you're simultaneously building your fighting grip, just like that. Do it a few dozen times unloaded, nice and slow. Then do it a few more dozen times a little bit faster. Maybe even set your cell phone up and hit record and watch yourself. Make sure that what you are doing looks like what I'm talking about and what I'm presenting in this video, right? And then go out to the range with a buddy or two and practice this. Again, like practice it dry a few times, even at the range, before you ever incorporate ammunition into this. And then when you feel confident and ready, then start at square one. Do this slowly and deliberately with live ammunition, and then speed it up based on your comfort level, all right? This is something that you should practice 1,000 times. Minimum. Practice this 1,000 times. And then once you've hit 1,000, practice it 2,000 times. You should practice this to the point where you can't get it wrong. You should practice this to the point that no matter what, like, no matter how you're moving, no matter how you're postured, if you have to like turn around and draw, whatever, you should have practiced this to the point where don't practice it till you get it right. Practice it till you can't get it wrong. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is when you are truly ready to carry your firearm and you are a force to be reckoned with. Because what that does, once it becomes muscle memory, like for basketball players shooting a free throw, right? Or for wrestlers getting down into a wrestling stance. Wrestling is kind of close to my heart. My son's in the middle of his wrestling season right now. I'm an old man at this point, almost 40 years old. I still can get down into my wrestling stance and I can work some moves just because I've practiced those moves to the point where like that's muscle memory and my body hasn't really forgotten it. I was a little rusty to start off, but it's like riding a bike. Yeah, you pick it up pretty quick. So again, guys, practice this not until you get it right, but practice it until you can't get it wrong, and then you'll be a force to be reckoned with. All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you got something out of this video, please like, comment, share, subscribe, all the things. And until next time, train hard and carry your gun.